We got very quiet. How are you?
In the heartland of the great state of Illinois. We're delighted to host today's visit here at the Peoria headquarters of the Illinois Department of Transportation. And I'm here to comment on a couple of things. First, the state of Illinois' investment in local roads and infrastructure is vital to all local governments. And as chairman of the Peoria County Board, I can only say that louder if it would make a difference as to how important not just repairing or maintaining our roads, we'll talk about that in a bit, but just the economics associated with the transportation network cannot be underestimated. And of the more than 1,800 miles of roadway in this county, 17% of those are the responsibility of our government. And for the last several years, you know, with a couple of failed referendums, we've identified $200 million of critical needs in our county road system that we don't have the funding to address. Now, Rebuild Illinois is enabling local governments, including Peoria County, to fund critically important and much needed transportation infrastructure. And I'm extremely proud as a local citizen, quite frankly, and immensely grateful for the support of the legislators that are here today who made the right choice, not the hard choice, but the right choice, to end the cycle of division and impasse that has existed for too long in our state capital. And I just want to digress for a little bit, and I was warned not to do this, but that doesn't work. So on my way home last night from work at AMT, I called my mother, Eileen, who will enjoy her 89th birthday tomorrow with her friends in Gainesville, Florida. And while I speak to my mother quite often, I called her not so much to say what good sons say to their mothers, but to instead to let her know her little 10-pound bundle of joy had been invited to introduce today's special guest, the governor of Illinois. And she wanted me to tell the governor, mazel tov on your election, and please remember to perform many, many mitzvahs for our citizens. I can translate that later if anybody needs it. To this end, I'm honored beyond compare to introduce the governor of Illinois. And I remember my first introduction to him as he was traveling the state, deciding, pondering whether he should even run for governor. And I was invited to an event hosted downtown at Rhythm Kitchen. And I had never heard the gentleman's name, so I thought I'd go, and I was invited. And then months later, I remember when his team asked if he could tour our company at Advanced Medical Transport once his campaign for governor had begun. And I just thought he was so incredibly comfortable to watch, meeting and talking to our employees about everyday issues, and his sense of self and sort of lack of what I would say a bigger-than-life ego was so apparent to me that he had a heart and a real ear to be not only a good listener, but a compassionate thinker. And all of us remember then, as a candidate, J.B. Pritzker at the time made commitments to people during his campaign, and the governor has kept these commitments through this very example, Rebuild Illinois. And so I'm very, very humbled today to introduce the man who was a complete stranger to me a year ago or a year and a half ago, a business leader who set aside everything for the chance to help put Illinois back on track and to lead the people of our state, and whose promises have been fulfilled through what are now described as accomplishments. And I'd like to give Governor J.B. Pritzker, the 43rd governor of the state of Illinois, a warm Peoria County welcome.
Well, thank you, Chairman Rand. Thanks to your mother for the mazel tov, and you can tell her now. It sounds like she lives in Florida now.
Yeah.
You can tell her it's time to come back to Illinois. We're fixing it, so give me your phone number and I'll call her up. I really do appreciate that very kind introduction, and I am thrilled to be back here in Peoria. I've made so many friends here. I think all of you know that I've spent a lot of time in Peoria and in Central Illinois, not just as a candidate, but also as governor. It's incredibly important to me that we make investments here. And I promised, I talked about throughout the campaign the fact that downstate Illinois had been, to a large degree, forgotten, and that it was time that we reversed that, and we made some changes. And so we are, and I'm excited to be working together to bring these investments to Peoria and to all of the neighboring communities surrounding. To Leader Gordon Booth, I just want to say what a terrific partner you've been in the House, and somebody that I've developed such a great friendship with, and along with your compatriot, Senator Kaler, we've gotten a lot done for Peoria. We've gotten a lot done for the entire region, and I'm very grateful for that. And I want to say to all the elected officials, including Mayor Mike Phelan of Peoria Heights, to the members of organized labor, to community activists, to business leaders who helped to put this legislation together, thank you, thank you, thank you. This was a group effort. Everybody pushed and pushed and pushed to make this happen, and it's been too long, frankly, that we've waited to get it done, but over decades now, but I'm thrilled. And together we passed the largest, most robust capital plan in state history. And we did it in the very best traditions of our democracy with a bipartisan commitment to improve the lives of people all across the state of Illinois. I'm very proud of that fact, and I hope all of you are too. My partner in moving Illinois forward, our Lieutenant Governor, Juliana Stratton, couldn't join us this afternoon, but I just wanted to recognize her. She's been an amazing partner for me and for all of us in Springfield, and has worked tirelessly on behalf of the entire state. She has a real commitment to everyone in every region. Secretary Osman, who's here with us, with your 3 decades of experience as an engineer and as a leader at the Department of Transportation, I'm really excited that we get to work alongside you to rebuild Illinois. There's nobody who knows the roads and bridges and the byways and highways of the state of Illinois like this man, and we're all lucky to have his leadership at the head of this effort to rebuild Illinois. So I just want to make sure, is anybody here from organized labor? Oh no, you got to be louder than that. Anybody here from organized labor? I want to thank all of you, to Jimmy Dillon and to Matt Bartolo, and to all of you for your leadership. Honestly, so much of what gets done across Central Illinois is because of your hard work, and I just want everyone to recognize that. We're excited to put you to work to create good jobs, good paying jobs all across the state, and you're one of the reasons that this happened. You were also pushing to make sure that we got this bill passed. Look, quality transportation infrastructure is a baseline expectation that people have of their government. It's so essential to people's everyday lives that, and to the functioning of our economy, that people often forget how the roads and bridges got here in the first place. But let's be clear, they got here because in prior years, the government fulfilled its responsibilities to the people. Since then, and for far too long, our state government has ignored those responsibilities, letting maintenance needs pile up to the tune of tens of billions of dollars. In fact, state government infrastructure funding levels got so low that Illinois nearly lost its matching federal dollars for infrastructure. I mean, that's an embarrassment. But years of disinvestment and passing the buck led to a failure to fulfill the most basic needs of working families, of businesses, and of all the people of Illinois. Those days are over. Today, we're announcing a major investment in Peoria and in the entire region. We're bringing billions of dollars of economic activity and jobs to Central Illinois. We're fulfilling our responsibilities to the people. We're rebuilding Illinois. Over the next 6 years, $45 billion will repair what's broken and build what's needed across our state, all while creating thousands of good-paying jobs here in Peoria and supporting hundreds of thousands of jobs throughout the entire state. 2/3 of these dollars are going into a constitutionally mandated lockbox that can only be spent on transportation, especially for maintaining, enhancing, and upgrading the roads and bridges that the people of Illinois use every single day. We're aiming to make these some of the best roads that you've ever driven on. We're also providing funding to fix potholes and resurface your local neighborhood roads. Chairman Rand talked about how important that is. Your local infrastructure, we want you to make the decisions about your local infrastructure. There's a lot that the state has, that the Department of Transportation has responsibility for, but in your local governments, in your counties, you need to make the decisions. And so from this capital plan, you will have dollars to make that happen. In fact, a significant number of dollars. Right here in Peoria, there are some major upgrades that are coming, and I want to just list a few of them for you. It includes $114 million to expand US 24, Illinois 9 to 4 lanes between Banner and Kingston Mines. $35 million to replace Murray-Baker Bridge connecting Peoria and East Peoria over the Illinois River. Nearly $20 million to replace the Harmon Highway Bridge over Kickapoo Creek, BNSF, and Union Pacific Railroads. And the lightning round, $68.5 million to resurface and expand portions of North Galena Road, nearly $50 million for resurfacing and bridge repair for I-474 US 24, $42 million for resurfacing and bridge repair on I-74, and $40 million for reconstructing the interchange and bridge of Illinois 8, 116, and Illinois 29. I know there are a lot of numbers in there, but suffice to say, we're investing heavily in this area. We want to make sure that you've got those roads and bridges that you all deserve. Collectively, these projects and many others here in Peoria and the surrounding region are really all about revitalizing Central Illinois and building a promising future for our entire state. And there's even more. We're expanding broadband internet to every corner of the state of Illinois. You shouldn't go without broadband. Businesses aren't going to go where there isn't broadband. Kids can't go to school and then go home and not have broadband. Everybody ought to have it, and we're making a major investment to make sure that everybody has it. We're tackling the neglected maintenance at state facilities, too, making sure that we have veterans' homes that honor our service members, and a modern state crime lab that will help eliminate the DNA backlog that prevents so many victims from getting justice. And that includes $500,000 for the Fulton County courtroom and jail repairs. We're investing in environmental protection for our communities, including flood mitigation programs to protect families and critical infrastructure in your local communities. Here in Peoria, where floods have threatened homes and livelihoods, that's especially important right now. I know that we've got some of ICC's Highway Construction Career Training Program students and staff with us today, and so I have a message for all of you and all the students that are here. Rebuild Illinois doesn't just offer more opportunities for jobs after graduation, not just jobs, as if that's not enough. But more than that, we're also making sure that you're getting your training in the best facilities possible, and we're doing that in part by investing over $5 million for major upgrades at Illinois Central College. For everyone here, let me be clear. Rebuild Illinois isn't just about infrastructure. It's a job creation plan, the likes of which our state has never seen before. Illinois is a global hub of commerce and a transportation center for the nation. We're the 5th largest economy in the United States. We're an essential part of the supply chain for companies all across America. That means jobs, and that means jobs for Illinois. But we can't grow if we let our infrastructure crumble. Rebuild Illinois is all about growth. It marks a new stage in Illinois' history, and I'm truly proud to stand here with so many people who have worked so hard to usher in a new era of positive change for our state. Thank you all very much for welcoming me once again to Peoria. I want to say that I virtually began my campaign for governor a couple years ago here in Peoria, getting to know some of you even back then. I finished my campaign here in Peoria the night before Election Day, and I have come here today in part to deliver on the things that I've promised, but also to tell all of you how important Peoria is for the future of the entire state. So I'm going to be back here over and over again. In fact, you may be sick of me the number of times that I'll come back here. You may already be, but it's because I love Peoria. So let me conclude by introducing our next speaker and just say about Representative Gordon Booth that Jahan not only has been a tireless representative on your behalf, someone who represents the interests of her constituents vigorously, but she also is somebody who educates her fellow representatives and others in Springfield, and especially a new governor. She's somebody who's made sure that as I came into office that I knew what Peoria needed. And she, on a consistent basis, lets me know what it is that I can do to make things better for you. So you should be extraordinarily proud of the woman that I'm going to bring up after me, and that's Representative Jahan Gordon Booth.
Boy, oh boy, what a difference a governor makes. I remember maybe 2 summers ago, Senator Kaler and I, we were having moments like this. It certainly wasn't out here at IDOT, but we were doing press conferences trying to get money released for MAP, for whatever the issue of the hour may have been at that time. But again, what a difference a governor makes. It was my absolute honor to be able to work in the new leadership role that I've been granted this year. It gave me an opportunity to make that mean something for this community, and that's exactly what the goal was, and that's exactly what we did. The goal this year was to work collaboratively and collectively to make some of the most significant investments throughout the state, but in particular for me, to make the most significant transformative investments that we could make right here in central Illinois to bring Peoria back. Myself, Senator Kaler, Representative Spain, before I get into my remarks, I want to, we all work very closely together. We may have a different letter at the end of our last name, but we all work collectively together. Myself, Dave, and Ryan, you could catch us on any given session day working around the table in my office, calling in Omer to talk about how we were going to make this the most meaningful capital bill that we've ever seen here for Peoria. And I just wanted to make the remarks. He is away with his family and could not be here today. But he certainly is with us in spirit, and we would not have been able to do all that we were able to do without some of his leadership and the hard work that he put into this as well. So I definitely would be remiss if I didn't say that. But we're living in the richest and most powerful country in the world. But here in downstate Illinois, and in my hometown of Peoria, for far too many generations, we have been forgotten. We've been forgotten, and we have been dismissed by past administrations. All the while, our basic infrastructure, our buildings, our roads, our schools are falling apart. We had been forgotten, but that's all changed. That changed with the election of J.B. Pritzker. Today, we are here to talk about the massive investment of hundreds of millions of dollars in transportation so that downstate Illinois can begin to realize its potential as a transportation hub for the entire country. This is about jobs, it's about education, and it's about opportunity for our residents in reclaiming our stake in the growth and development of this nation. It's about our tax dollars coming right back here to our community. It's about improving the everyday lives of people. So although we talk about transportation, we see these, all this big machinery, and sometimes it can be forgotten what is the nexus? And how does that play a role in everyday people's lives? It plays a significant role. It plays probably the most important role in all that we do. When we talk about transportation, what transportation ultimately is, it's an investment in our children. It's an investment in the growth of what this community will be, not in 2020, but in 2070, literally. Because I can also think about some of the things that we're going to start making down payments on in this capital bill, that if some of the leaders of maybe 50 years ago had been doing some of that, you would probably be seeing high-speed rail in Peoria. But don't write it off, okay? Not today and not tomorrow, but don't write us off, because what we're doing here is nothing to sneeze at. The investments that we're making with this capital bill, with the leadership of J.B. Pritzker, Director Osmond, and I would be remiss if I also did not bring up the leadership of Deputy Governor Christian Mitchell. He worked tirelessly on this effort. I don't know how he did all that he did, but he did it, and he did it very well. So thank you so much, Christian, if you're out there listening. We're changing Peoria, and we're changing Peoria for the better, and I am here for it. And the beauty of all this, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're just getting started. I am so grateful to finally have the leadership in the governor's office that listens to people, that understands people, and takes action for people. So thank you so much for being here today. Let's get to it. Let's do this. At every press conference, I always step back and have to step up. Good problem to have, though, right? So this gentleman who will be speaking next is no stranger to any of us. He is a tireless advocate for the 46th District. He's my partner in the Senate. We talk probably more than I talk to just about almost everybody in my family except for my sister. My friend, my backbone, someone who I would not want to do this work without, friend of labor, friend of the Democratic Party, a friend to all, Senator Dave Kaler.
Governor, thank you for coming to Peoria. I have a little confession to make. This is a story that happened probably about a week before our scheduled ending date of May 31st. And I think Jahan and I were in a meeting and somebody asked us, well, there's a lot of big things coming up. You know, this has been a pretty busy spring for us. What about the capital bill? And we kind of looked at each other and I said, well, there's a lot of moving pieces to that. I hope it can get done, but you know, we're probably going to have to come back on it in the summer. And boy, was I glad to say we were wrong. And the difference is that we have a good governor. And he was engaged in every aspect of that process. In fact, let me tell a story, and you can correct me if I've got it wrong. But so the Republican caucus in the House came in and said, "We demand these things for the business side of the equation. You know, we want the franchise tax repealed. We want this. We want that." And the governor's response, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." What a difference! What a difference in attitude. I mean, this truly felt good as a bipartisan effort to get people to work and to do the things that we need to do in Illinois. On a personal note, I want to thank you for not making me a liar. When I first got elected 13 years ago, representing Peoria County, Fulton County, Tazewell County, I told the people in Fulton County that they do not anywhere in the county have a 4-lane road. All right, Paul? No 4-lane roads in Fulton County. I said, while I'm in the Senate, you are going to get a 4-lane road. And thank you for including Route 24, which includes the southern part of Peoria County and Fulton County down to Banner. What that will mean on that death trap is that we're going to save lives, literally save lives. So thank you for that. I'm not a liar. The importance of this is profound. We still have a lot of other projects that are still being worked out, so this list is not a finite list, but is an evolving list. I just want to say this is a good day for the state of Illinois. What you have when you have a responsive legislature, and I think Springfield is very different. You know, people say, well, how's it? We're not Washington, D.C. You know, we actually get along with a lot of our colleagues across the aisle. But when you have a responsive legislature and a good governor, great things can happen, and that's what did. Yes, and now someone who is, the governor's already said, very experienced with IDOT, Omar Osman, is from this area. He knows the Peoria area very well. The director of, Secretary of the Illinois Department of Transportation, Omar Osman.
Governor, welcome to my beautiful hometown, Peoria, Illinois. It is my honor and pleasure to be here today. As was mentioned, I'm acting Illinois Transportation Secretary Omar Osman. Because of this governor's leadership and the General Assembly's support of transportation in our state, the Illinois Department of Transportation is back in the business of building a premier transportation network that creates jobs, improves your quality of life. Our roads, bridges, transit providers, ports, rail systems, and our ability to grow bicycle and pedestrian accommodation have been neglected for far too long. For far too long, we have lacked the ability to invest in infrastructure and projects like the ones we are celebrating today. The governor mentioned a lot of them, and I think it's worth repeating what they are. A $68 million Route 29 project that will improve, that's a project in the Peoria Heights area, that will improve safety and address the poor condition of the existing pavement. The $40 million of the interchange reconstruction at the Cedar Street extension, including a bridge replacement in East Peoria, that will improve safety and provide better access for freight traffic. The $42 million rehab of the pavement and bridge on I-74 just west of here. The $35 million of a new deck on this critical bridge we call the Mary Baker Bridge. The $19 million is slated for a new bridge at Herman Highways. And finally, $114 million is being mentioned before. $114 million for a long overdue expansion of US 24 to 4-lane from Banner to Kingston Mine. How long overdue, you may ask? I have actually worked on this, and the governor had mentioned it 3 decades ago when I started with the department. 3 decades. We started planning for this US 24 project back in 1990, 1991. And because of this capital bill, it's finally going to be a reality. I got to say something about IDOT District 4. If you don't know, I spent 20 years of my career right here. District 4 staff is one of the best. They know what they're doing. This is a lot of project. This is a massive investment. But they are up to the task. The leadership from central office headquarters here, Director Lodi, Director Simon, and a few others, they are up to the task. No challenge would stop them. They're going to deliver this within the next 6 years. Right, Council? Yes, sir. Got it. All right. But I got to tell you, the governor's capital program is extremely comprehensive and detailed. Extremely comprehensive and detailed. At IDOT, we have been working around the clock to capture its impact on our planning and programming efforts over the coming months and years. We will, in the coming weeks, be releasing our multi-year program, which shows the full scope of Rebuild Illinois. Today is just a taste of things to come. I'm truly excited I'm truly excited that this is not only the largest capital program in the state history, but the first one that is truly multimodal. Every aspect and mode of transportation in every part of Illinois will be touched by it. As the Secretary of Transportation, and during my entire 3 decades, and 41 days today, at IDOT, I have pushed for diversity in our department and our projects. I am thrilled that we have a champion in Governor Pritzker. One of my priorities with this capital program will be to redouble our effort to make us more inclusive through our DBE program and other initiatives to best reflect the communities we serve. That means a strengthening program that provides opportunity to get young people, and we have a few of them in the back, young people started on a career in transportation, and to make more small businesses eligible to participate in our projects. That's how you create jobs, grow businesses, and ultimately make our project selection more competitive. This capital bill plays in Peoria.
That's right.
And if it does play in Peoria, it plays across our great state. Again, thank you, Governor Pritzker, for your commitment to transportation. Get used to seeing IDOT around here these next few years. And please pardon our dust these next few years while we rebuild Illinois. Thank you.
Happy to take any questions from members of the media, and of course we have the state senator, state representative, and other leaders here too. So, Chris.
Yes, Governor, obviously a lot of this bill is lump summed out, and there are other portions of it that come in through member initiatives. I understand from these two up here that we'll be hearing a little more about that in the coming weeks. How soon do we all anticipate being able to announce those numbers? And do you believe it's appropriate that all of the members release information on what they want for the member initiatives?
Well, I mean, I can speak to the multi-year plan, which is part of the administration's decision-making at Department of Transportation. As Secretary Ostman said, that plan, which comes out on a regular basis, this isn't an unusual thing just for the capital plan. It's sort of out there on a regular basis anyway, but it gets updated, and it's going to be updated soon. You'll be able to see within that plan some of the other projects that are going to be focused on for Peoria and all the surrounding counties, so that you'll be able to account for all of that. And then I don't know about the member initiatives. I know they're having discussions each other with the Republicans, with Ryan Spain, with others, to make sure that they're coordinating on what it is that people need across this region. But I'll let you address it.
So it is our intention, end of August, early September, to do a massive transformative rollout of the entirety of the package. In my remarks, I specifically wanted to focus on roads because that's why we're here, that's why we're at IDOT, this beautiful garage. But there is a plan for us to collectively roll out our packages, because what we did as a legislative team, I think you need to come closer right now, is we collectively put our money together to be able to make true impact within this region. And so we want to roll that out together collectively so that we have maximum impact, and we'd like to do that downtown on the riverfront in order to be able to show the transformative vision that we have for this community.
Yeah, member initiative money is money that, of course, legislators are able to put towards worthwhile projects in their area. What has changed, and I was there in 2009 for the last time we did a capital bill, what has changed is that the new GATA rules require that they be appropriated before we actually have it released. So the next step for that will be veto session. But what Jahan is saying is that we're working on this together to really try to do some pretty profound things that'll really propel this community forward. So
And that's all of you in the Peoria delegation working together on that?
we'll certainly invite everybody to the party.
And I can speak just from my own experience of having spoken to people on both sides of the aisle in the legislature. They are talking to one another about various projects, and I don't know whether they'll announce them all together, but I can tell you that there's a lot of discussion, especially among this delegation, because they get along well and they are in regular communication. You should be very proud of that, because that is not the case everywhere, but it is more and more the case, frankly.
We like each other.
Yeah, it is more and more. I do want to say, though, that it is more and more the case in the state, in my opinion, that there's dialogue going on between people on both sides of the aisle, and it's reflected in the votes that on this Capitol bill. It was reflected in the bipartisan balanced budget. Can I repeat that?
Yeah.
The bipartisan balanced budget that was passed for the state of Illinois. I mean, it was a truly balanced budget, and people came together behind that. So I think you'll see more cooperation, I think, in various areas of the state in addition to your own delegation. So, any other questions?
The exciting piece of this is the diversity of hiring that you're promoting through this program. But I think something that we hear under the dome a lot from lawmakers is that state departments in general, hiring can be incredibly diverse. So how do we go from saying that what we want is to have a workforce that reflects the population of Illinois to actually making sure that that happens?
Yeah. So I certainly want to let Secretary Osman talk about how we're doing that within the contracting for the projects under the Capitol bill. But let me just say, I'm trying to do it by example.
That's right.
In my administration, and I think I have done that. If you look at, we have the most diverse administration ever in the history of the state of Illinois, not just at leadership levels, although you should look at the leadership level, but also beneath that level. And we're still making appointments too. It's important to me to have an administration that's reflective. I said in my inauguration speech that every child in Illinois should see someone in my administration that looks like them. And I really believe that's true. And these are the most qualified people in the state. They also are reflective of our diversity. Let me let Secretary Osman talk about the contracting. And
Indeed. I think we did talk about the students who are back here. They are from ICC. And ICC is one of 12 community colleges we contract with or we coordinate with. We invest money in these community colleges. And the idea there is to prep young people, specifically young people of color and females, for a career in construction, specifically transportation construction. We have invested quite a lot of money for the last 2-3 years, and we're going to invest more. And if there is any other community college, as we roll out this massive capital bill, if there's any other community college who is interested in this program, we are certainly going to sit down and talk to them. Now, that's on the outside. There's contracting, obviously, with the $25.4 billion that goes with for transportation. There are DB goals we set specifically for small business, specifically for minorities and female. Some of these projects are complex, and those are the ones we're going to see maybe 2-3 years down the road. And that's when you're going to see the contracting side kick in. As far as internally, I could tell you internally from within the department, our effort has always been to diversify our technical, civil engineer, engineering technician, and our highway maintainer staff. And we have done that, and we have been pushing for it. And we are still hiring civil engineers, initially from the state of Illinois, the 9 accredited school, and we look for diversity. We look for diversity, and if we can't find it in the state of Illinois, we go to the neighboring state. And I think we have done quite well today by diversifying, and you could see it in our new staff. Thank you.
If I could just say real quick.
Yeah.
If you know me, you know that I lead with this. And so in the passage of the Capitol, it's one of the remarks that I forgot to mention. As the days were waning and cannabis was already, it wasn't passed, everything was on the table. And the Capitol bill was one of the many big things that was still left to get done. And we were likely in the last day of session, and I remember huddling up with a group of members because the Capitol bill was getting ready to go on the board in about an hour. And we were still crafting the language, working with Deputy Governor Christian Mitchell to ensure that statutorily, not just in theory or not just because we say it, because people often, and we know, people will say one thing and do another. But statutorily within the bill, it was a priority of this governor to ensure that not only the workforce, but on the contracting side, that we have that the investments that are made because of a capital bill, that it looks like the state. What capital bills really do for a state and for communities is that it's stimulus. It is stimulating that economy in so many tertiary ways, and the economic impact is powerful that happens in an economy. But if people with intentionality are not brought into that economy, they get left behind. And what I'm proud to say is not only within the appointments from his top level staff, and I cannot tell you, particularly as a Black woman, and I was one of the lead negotiators on capital and cannabis, the kinds of conversations that you have the ability to say in rooms that are diverse, it's different. It changes the dynamic, and there's no other way to frame it. There's no nice way to say it. If your room is not diverse, your room, the product that comes out of it is probably going to be leaving somebody out. That's just the way that it is. If you don't have people of color, if you don't have women at the table, you're leaving a lot of economic impact on the floor. And what this governor has made a concerted decision to do is we are going forward. Illinois is open for business, and everybody's going to come along for the ride.
That's great. Thanks, everybody. Oh, sorry.
Just one thing I wanted to say is that one thing you'll hear over and over as we work with the new governor and the legislature is the issue of justice, equality, and fairness, and that really permeates through everything we do. I'll just mention that Senator Emil Jones put together a bill that I was chief co-sponsor on to help create within the Department of Labor a program that's going to go out and actually do recruiting so that we can bring young people in of diversity to be able to make it through and apply for the union apprenticeship programs. I mean, this state is so lucky that we have a strong organized labor backbone here. We have apprenticeship programs that can take young people and train them and give them skills so they can become craftspeople. And that's our economy. These are head of household jobs. And so the fairness, the justice, the equity part of that is just going to be paramount as we go forward. And thank goodness it is, because that's who we are.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.